Good morning, everybody. Dennis Mattern with Creative One. I'd like to thank you for being here today, and of course, welcome Jonathan Lee. We are going to host today's case design and life cycle model review. I know folks had sent in some cases for Jonathan to look at, so this is going to be fascinating as always. With that being said, Jonathan Lee, please, the floor is yours.
All right, Dennis, I'm going to go ahead and hit share my screen. Let me make sure that you guys get what you're supposed to get, and then we'll jump right in. So I got a bunch of cases I want to go over with you guys today, but I also have a lot of people have been asking me how I position different types of annuities and what I use in my sales process. And I know, obviously some of you guys it's been a while since you've been to the training. Some of you guys have been there more recently, but I wanted to show you all the different indexes that we're using now and how I'm positioning them. And I would love to talk to other people about how they're doing it. But I always assume that I'm doing joint cases with some of you guys that we're doing cases similarly and we're kind of saying the same things. But the more I talk to people, the more I realize we're not saying the same stuff, and it's really interesting to hear what other people are doing. So I got some cases and I've got some sales strategies. So I think I might start off, if you don't mind, by just going over the sales strategies. And I also printed out a couple life insurance strategies for some of the college planning guys that are using that a lot of you guys may not realize are available to us, which are some of the single premium MEC type plans. And they're going to be it's a really awesome tool. Actually, I never sell these things, but I will definitely show people these in order to let them know what they can do for us. And sometimes it'll help people get through underwriting and things like that. So I believe the phones are unmuted right now. So if I don't hear, okay, yeah. So if you guys have any questions, you can probably just chime in and ask me. If I start hearing a bunch of background noise and I start hearing phones ringing, we're gonna mute you guys. So I'm gonna start off with the easy stuff, and then we'll go up to a little more complicated stuff. So let's see here.
And per Jonathan, we can see your screen just fine.
Okay, perfect. So I got a couple clients here of one of you guys. It's a college planning guy, and I thought about the illustrations that we were doing for this guy, and I thought, you know what, this is really a good idea for people who aren't selling a ton of life insurance yet to get you involved in how to position life insurance. So really you look at it, life insurance as 100% benefit and really no cost. And this is a great example of how that works. I'm not going to necessarily suggest that we sell this plan that I'm going to show you right now, but I will suggest that you might bring it up. I think we're going to have to mute you guys for right now just because
okay, Jonathan, I'll go ahead and mute everybody, and then just pause for just a second, because then I'll have to unmute you. So it'll just take 1 second.
You got it.
The conference has been muted.
Okay, that beep
Jonathan,
means I'm probably back on again.
Affirmative.
Okay.
You are good to go, sir.
So again, I've been doing life insurance for 25 years. And I know a lot of people that know the life insurance stuff really well. They don't need any of this information, but sometimes I assume that just because you're making $1 million a year selling annuities and AUM that you know life insurance, and that's not a great assumption, as some people have told me. Assume that everybody needs this information. So when we're talking about getting people medically underwritten before we're giving them any planning advice, we're in the first meeting and we're saying, hey, we think you need to take a medical. If you're struggling with it, what you may want to consider doing is pulling out one of these John Doe illustrations. So I got a John Doe here for a 59-year-old, and I also got a Jane Doe, the wife, for a 53-year-old here. And I'm showing both of them with a $250,000 single pay premium. Obviously, the mutual trust, A-rated, 100-year-old mutual company. This is who I prefer for right now. And when you show them this benefit, people are absolutely floored. So here's basically the deal. You can pop in $250,000, and the reason why I'm showing $250,000 is this couple had $500,000 in mutual funds / stock / CD / savings or whatever. They got $500,000 that was not in retirement accounts. Okay, so we needed to take this $500,000 off the table for financial aid, because these guys literally are going to get like 50% financial aid. So their kids are going to go to college. It's going to cost them $45,000 a year per child, and they're only going to have to pay half of that because we're moving this money. So before we even get into the insurance thing, taking this money off the table is going to save them like $20,000 a year in financial aid. I mean, it's really, really powerful. So that's an important strategy. Now let's look at just how these policies stand on their own, besides the college planning market, besides the financial aid market. You plop in $250,000 into a single pay premium insurance policy. $223,000 of that is available for immediate withdrawal. No waiting period, not a single day, nothing. Okay. On top of that, you now have a $643,000 paid up life insurance policy. Now, with this type of plan, you're not only getting life insurance, right, but you're also getting the long-term care benefit. So the long-term care benefit's available from day one. It's tax-free upon withdrawal. They can take out up to $250,000 a year out of here for long-term care. But as you go down the road, you're going to see this policy is going to grow. By the time this person or this young lady gets to relevant age for needing care, it's not worth $600,000 anymore. It's worth like $900,000. And I think I just did one-pagers. So, the cash value is just going to be sitting there. But remember, not only are they going to be able to get the cash out if they want to, what we're really doing is adding some serious protection to their lives. You will never see a deduction from their cash value for anything. There's no cost of insurance. There's no expense. There's no nothing. So literally almost all the money is going in there. After just a few years, they're actually going to get some interest on the money. But this policy is a single pay, tremendous amount of benefit. Obviously, if you need to do pension max or if you want to do other things with this, you can. But that's how the single pay works. For us, it's really simple. We look at this, we understand it, we get it. Trust me, the general public has not seen these types of programs before. They do not know they exist. They think you got to pay insurance, and you lose all your money, and you got to wait 20 or 30 years to get any benefit, whatever. That is absolutely not the case. And in an interesting world, as an aside, let's say this couple didn't have $500, but they only had $250, but they wanted to get a policy on both. You could very easily, and you would want to do this on a 59-year-old, and hopefully you guys all know why, right? You would want to do the policy on the 59-year-old for the single premium. And so you'll see the 59-year-old, his cash value is actually a little bit better initially, but his death benefit's not as great. That's because he's a man. That's because he's older. Insurance companies are allowed to discriminate. We can tell that whole story all day long, whatever. Okay? But the 59-year-old, because it's a mech, right, you can do the single premium on the 59-year-old, and then you could take money out of the cash, and you can use that money to buy an additional policy on the wife. So with that same dollar in here, $1 goes into the company, you can sell 2 policies, okay? And you get to get paid twice. So it's good for the client, it's good for you, and Mutual Trust was happy to take that business. So this is a very, it's a very entry-level strategy. Some people look at this and say, oh my God, there's no cost of insurance. This cash value can never go down. It can only go up. Tax-free interest, long-term care, why on earth would anybody do this? And I can tell you right now, there is no reason why anybody wouldn't do this. So this is a college planning strategy, yet you don't need to have the college planning strategy to do this. This can absolutely be done any way you want it. In fact, again, next level planning, you can even do these plans inside of a CRUT. Why would you want to do a plan inside of the CRUT? Well, because you can actually get a tax deduction for the premium, right? So you have the insurance, the long-term care, the tax deduction, you get all this incredible stuff. So start thinking a little bit outside the box. You're going to be able to bring so much value to your clients. This may be something that you need if you're not well versed at how to set up a medical exam or how to get somebody into the life insurance process. Hey, look, a lot of people don't realize you don't have to pay for long-term care every year. There's a 1-pay plan here. You can do a 2-pay. You can do a 5-pay. You can do a 10-pay. But in these plans, this is the way we position it. And I did an appointment this morning with one of my guys, and I listened to him talk, and he sounded just like me. And that in fact, he sounded better than me, and that got me super excited. He said, tax-free piggy bank right here. He said long-term care benefit right here, no cost of insurance, enhances your estate, avoids probate, all that good stuff that we all know. If you need to use this to show clients that insurance can really bring you nothing but benefit, it might be a good way to start off. This isn't necessarily what we're going to sell, but we want to get them medically underwritten. We need to see who's healthier. We need to see how long they're going to live, and then we can try to figure out, I'm going to shake this down for a second. We can figure out how they can start applying for the insurance without us having to take any money from them and without us having to really make any specific recommendations. Okay? That's number one. Number two is because we have so many indexes out there, people have been asking me about Ibbotson, Zebra Edge, all this stuff. That is all great, and you guys, trust me, you know more about annuities than I do. You know more about the stock market than I do. But what I know for sure is this. I've got guys in my office that are in their 30s that are selling tens of millions of dollars of annuities per year. They're selling tons of life insurance, and they're selling tons of asset under management. And they're doing this without the knowledge that a lot of you guys have, the experience in the business. And the reason why they're doing it is because they're able to stick to the process. And our process tells a story. And the story is so compelling. And I often sit and think to myself, I'm telling this story, and it's so compelling, it's almost unfair to the customer or to the client because it's so compelling that they would be absolutely crazy not to take our advice.
Jonathan?
Right? Yes.
Hey, I'm monitoring the chat box since we've got the lines muted, and there's a question that says, how does the taxation work when withdrawing money from cash balance when it's a MEC?
Great question. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to mention it. So for those of you who don't know, a MEC stands for Modified Endowment Contract. There is absolutely nothing wrong with a Modified Endowment Contract. Okay? If you are 59.5 or over, you can take money out without any penalty or any tax at all day one. Absolutely. Okay? When you will incur a tax in this scenario is when this customer, not the 53-year-old, sorry, let's go to the 59-year-old. When the 59-year-old takes out more than $250, so this $250 is more than his money after a couple of years. If he starts taking out in the interest, then the interest is taxable as income. Okay? And somebody might say to me, oh my God, that's a tragedy. He's got to pay taxes as income. There's two ways around it. Number one way around it is quit your crying and pay your daggone tax just like you would on any other account. Okay? A CD, a money market, a bond, a stock, anything else would be taxable on your gain, period, in this story no matter what. Number two, if you can't handle that, and you can't handle something that's just as good as everything else with twice the benefit for death or long-term care, you can do a two-pay for your client. So they can make two deposits rather than one. They'll make one deposit this year, and they'll make one deposit next year. All right, so it's a two-pay, and it will not MEC the contract. So if they have gains in the future, which they will have, and they take the money out, then they can avoid any taxation on that as well. Okay, so MECs are taxable only to the extent that you take out gain. A two-pay non-MEC, not taxable. And the death benefit and long-term care is not going to be taxable. All right, so that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else, just let me know, and I will quit my blabbering, and I'll go back and answer your questions. Okay, so I tell the story all the time about Shiller, and one of the great things that I love about Shiller is you can look him up online. And, of course, I'm not going to get into a whole big to-do about this right now because I want to get into some case studies, but I can tell you that the whole Nobel Prize-winning story, I talk about the momentum indexes. I talk about the car in every lane approach, how asset allocation has been wrong, how everything that we've been taught and been told by the finance and investment industry has been wrong, and the whole like rebalancing and the Monte Carlo simulations and trying to make more money by taking more risk does not get you more reward. These are the stories that we tell. Okay? And the reason we tell these stories is because we have all this information to back it up now. You can take less risk and make more money, right? And I'm going to just pull this one calculator up before I show you guys this again and remind you, this can be used as the simplest example. I use this with almost every client every time. It is the simplest example in the world. You go to the random return calculator, right? You show them the S&P 500. We want to compare everything to the S&P. Every brochure of every new index is all going to have the comparison to the S&P. You got to tell the S&P story. They got to understand how the index works. They have to understand what it is. Most people do. Okay? But when I show them this S&P 500 15-year historical return or whatever level of return you want to show them, all right, and I highlight, well, first of all, you start with 250, you end up with 378. That looks fine. When you highlight these rates of return, right, 15 years rate of return, the average rate of return is 5.1%. The client looks at that. There's no question. They get it. 5.1% stock market return, I get it. Okay, I know it's really small on here, but I'll show you it's 5.1%. Then when you show them the equity index strategy, here's the idea. Remember, you're not going to get all the market returns when the market goes up. In this case, you'll only get half, right? But when the market goes down, you don't lose any money. All right? So you don't lose any money. Your money never went down to 178. It stayed at 274. So when the market came back, rather than having to recover from here, you're not recovering from anywhere. You're going straight back up again. So you're going to make more money in this scenario. Your 250 goes to 550 rather than 378. And naturally what we're taught is, well, if I made more money, I had to have earned more interest, right? Absolutely not true. This is a strategy. Equity index is not a product. It's a strategy. It's a strategy of taking the negativity out of the equation. So what you get is a real rate of return. This, by the way, is an average rate of return. Whenever you have a negative, it has to be an average rate of return. It's not a real, it's not a compounded, it's an average. When you have no negativity, then what you do have is you have a real rate of return. You have a compound rate of return. It's a different story. You can look so credible with your clients by telling them this, and it's the easiest thing for them to see. You highlight the same thing. They had to have made more money because they have more money. It's absolutely not true. Same exact rate of return, 5.1%. You do not have to take more risk, and you do not have to make more return to make more money. You want to talk? My dad is a PhD in economics, guys. I talk to investment guys all the time. I talk to clients all the time. You can seem like a genius when you show them this, because then not only are you going to show them this, that's the natural segue into our equity index annuity conversation. It will blow their minds. They'll be like, this makes so much sense. I don't understand why nobody's showed this before. Isn't everybody doing it? Those are the things you want to hear people say. Okay? I'm going to show you how to take less risk at the same return and have a ton more wealth. Right? And then I'll put the withdrawal rate on there and say, look how much more important this is when you start to withdraw money. We start off with the same. We get the same rate of return, but in this column we lose 2/3 of all of our money in the first half of our retirement. In this column, we maintain our money, taking the exact same withdrawal, taking less risk. Pretty simple. Hopefully you guys see it. No chat box questions. Okay. This is just part of the story. This is an easy part of the story. I just wanted to remind you guys how powerful and useful these calculators are to explain concepts and strategies. Now let's go back to these indexes. Let's talk about the Shiller guy, right? Shiller created this thing, and by the way, I did not go to a Shiller training. Nobody ever told me how to position it. I just read it, I looked at it, and I saw what the clients are going to see, right? Based upon the U.S. market, and you'll see this word momentum on all the brochures. Remember the word momentum. What momentum to me means. What momentum to me means is if you're driving in highway traffic, which I drive in highway traffic in the D.C. area all the time. If I drive in highway traffic and I'm in my electric car, which I own an electric car, and I get in my HOV lane, I get to pass everybody. I've got positive momentum. If I get too far ahead, am I supposed to stop and pull over and get out of my HOV lane and get back into regular traffic? No, absolutely not. Should I have some cars in other lanes? No, absolutely not. This idea of rebalancing asset allocation is completely asinine. There's no research whatsoever to show anybody that it makes any sense whatsoever. I want to ride that HOV line as far as I possibly can until either the traffic starts to slow me down or the HOV lane ends. And when that happens and the momentum starts to shift, then I go back into the other lanes. Okay, but I got to take advantage of that positive momentum when I have it. What Shiller has done is he's created the program to track the momentum and move you from all those different sectors within the U.S. economy to follow the trend of momentum. He splits it up into different markets, I should say different baskets of money. And in this chart, I mean, this is a point-of-sale illustration, guys. You can use this with a client. This sells itself, right? 33% higher annualized returns than the S&P with half the risk. Okay, and here's a really cool thing about this illustration. This is something that I know a lot of you guys don't know and don't see. I'm going to blow this up real big. This is a 2-year reset product, guys. That may be the single most valuable thing on the planet, the 2-year reset. So if you're not selling Shiller's, Barclays, Athene products, if you're not selling the J.P. Morgan, you are absolutely crazy, because this market will correct and it will change. And I don't care if you put in riders on these daggone annuities. If you're selling the income, you're screwing yourself and you're screwing your client. And you can argue with me till the cats come home, but I'm going to show you right now how this is so. I mean, the Annexus Group with Richard Cato behind them, have done such an amazing job at making incredibly complicated vehicles user-friendly. So 2002, right, this goes back, and let's say you put money in there in 2002, and let's say, okay, the market went up in 2002. Let's say 2004 now. You see how this dot went up here, and then you had some increase for 2 years? This now in 2004 becomes your principal. Every 2 years, that sucker gets locked in. So if 2004 it went down, it wouldn't have made any difference. You would not have lost any money, right? All of a sudden, 2006 rolls around. Your principal on $100 is now $150. That's your principal. Now here's where the real magic happens, guys. Watch this. Let's cross over to 2008. 2008 is now our principal. You see where these guys went down here? They didn't lose any money. Then 2010, principal. 2012, that reset feature will save your clients' lives. 2014, principal. 2016, principal. 9% return with a 2-year lock-in of principal every 2 years. There's nothing like this on the planet. There's nothing like this on the planet. You guys should all be able to go on the internet like I do, pull up the ticker symbol for the Shiller Index under the Barclays Indexed Annuity, which is what this is right here. Good gracious, you want to tell a story and you want to tell these guys, since its launch, 9.4% return, last year 21%, 3-year average 9.4%. If you guys can't sell this all day, every day, you're crazy. It is the easiest thing on the planet. This stuff sells itself. Issue date 2002. I mean, they can look it up. They can follow this online. Their account changes balance every single day. Do you know how many annuities you can give your clients that are going to earn significant returns, and they can track it every day? 0 outside of Annexus products. 0. It's patented. No company on the planet can do this other than Annexus. Hopefully you guys know this. Okay, you tell this story, that's great. Now I get to transition. I get to sell even more because I'm going to transition this story to the JP Morgan Index. And you guys know, if you do work with me, I love JP Morgan Index. I love the name. I love the A+ rating of Nationwide. I love the whole deal. I just plop JP Morgan up, then I say, have you heard of JP Morgan? And they say, absolutely. I say, do you know what global investing is? Well, let me explain it to you. Again, you'll see this word. Remember, we're using the indexes, and we're using this word momentum. It's going to be on everything. Use momentum and indexes every time you talk to a client. Momentum indexes. Going to, what does a global index mean? It doesn't mean just stocks. It means multiple asset classes around the entire planet. The U.S., Europe, Asia, commodities, precious metals, energy. There aren't regular indexes that people know about that are this massively diversified. 15 asset classes. Where can you get 15 asset classes inside of an index? You can't. These are really the only ones, and they're making them new ones now. But I tell you what, when you look at what JP Morgan has done for our clients, real money in my client's pocket, same chart. Guess what? It's a 20-year chart right against the S&P. They love this green line. Slow and steady wins the race, right? What's the fee? And by the way, Shiller has a fee, right? Guess what doesn't have a fee? 0 fee JP Morgan Index. No cap, no fee, no spread. 100% of what the index gets. That's what you get. If you guys can't sell this story and move millions and millions of dollars, we're doing something wrong. We're not trying to take more risk. We're not trying to make them more money. We just want to get a reasonable return. We want to be able to take money out. And by the way, I might stop right here and say, look, what does 6% really mean to us? This is where they get real excited. Let me show you what 6% really means to us. 6% means that we can take our RMDs. Right, let's say you have $250,000 in an IRA. What does 6% mean? That's $2.5 million. I'd like to have that too. 6% means you can take your RMD, which is $12,000, right? That's your RMD, $12,000 and $250. And you can take your RMD and you can live for 25 years, and even though you're taking money out every year, at the end of 25 years, your $250 is now grown to $375. That is what our clients want us to deliver to them. All they want, and we know we don't have to ask them, they want the same thing. I don't need to say, would you like more money? Would you like your money to grow as you're taking money out? I know that's what they want, right? They can have their money grow while they're still taking up their MDs. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to be crazy. No fee. Easiest thing in the world to sell. And your clients should be in both of these accounts. They should be in multiple index accounts, right? JP Morgan index brochure year by year when they do the 20-year side-by-side comparison of the S&P. God, I'm telling you right now, look what happened when our market went negative, right? We just showed the other chart of the 2000 crash. Not only did JP Morgan not lose, it actually earned. 2008, same deal. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to spend any more time on this. You guys get it. You need to be selling these things. The last one I'm going to show you, the one I like also, what a lot of people don't know about, the marquee, Goldman Sachs. Look at this word here, guys. Momentum Index. It says it right here for us. You don't have to sell it. This stuff sells itself. Momentum Index, JP Morgan. Goldman Sachs. Why is Goldman Sachs so interesting to me? I'll tell you why Goldman Sachs is interesting to me. A-plus rated company. U.S. international bonds, commodities, money market. Massive diversification. Incredible rates of return, 3-year averages. But here's the most important thing. You can sell this to somebody who's up to 85 years old. That's a big deal, guys. What else can you sell somebody who's 83 or 84? Nothing, right? This you can do up to age 85. Immediate liquidity. There's no waiting period. You put in $100,000 into this thing. This is Lafayette, by the way. 98 Comdax rating. It's the highest Comdax rating in the country for any insurance company. If you put $100,000 into the Goldman Sachs index with Lafayette, you can take out $10,000 immediately. 10% immediate withdrawal. No waiting period. At the end of the first year, take out another 10%. That's a 20% withdrawal in the first 366 days. Talk about liquidity, and you get paid on the whole deal. Okay? So these are the indexes. Hopefully you guys are using them. I wanted to remind you about what an incredible advantage we have. It's an unfair fight, man. If we run into somebody else and they haven't done these things, which nobody does for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't know if they're chasing commissions or they're just out peddling policies. I don't know. But we get to collect all of our clients' assets. We get to sell them all the insurance, and we get to get client relationships for life. And we're not even talking about marketing, guys. This is just planning and sales and product. You know, and again, product is my weakness. But I get so excited every time I look at my clients and see the sigh of relief on their face. Oh, this is what I've been looking for. I didn't want to pay long-term care premiums my whole life and get jacked up and get kicked out. I didn't want to have my money in the market, but I needed to earn more than 1 or 2%. I'm so incredibly grateful that I've found these types of strategies. Okay, when you start coupling this amazing product portfolio that we have, tax sheltering, Roth IRAs, care program, I mean, I can't even tell you what it's like compared to what it was like 5 or 10 years ago. I mean, we have so much opportunity in front of us. I've got 4 case studies, but I've already used half my time blabbering. Hopefully that was helpful. Listen to this recording over again, guys. Okay, be reminded of all the wonderful things that we have available. If you believe in your heart that you're going to save somebody's financial life, you're going to become better because you're going to get to more people. You're going to realize that the more people you get to, the more people you can help. And you're going to make it your mission to try and help as many people as you can. My mission is to help as many people as I can. I don't want to sell fewer people. I want to sell more people. I don't have to sell as many people as I do. I don't have to work as hard as I do. But my God, if I have information that's going to save somebody's financial life, I got to get it to them. And the more of you guys, the more of the top advisors out there that I can get my message to, the more you guys can go out and sell 1,000 people. And that is what I'm interested in doing all day, every day. Okay? So, life cycle model. I'm going to just check the chat box real quick, make sure I didn't miss another question. Nope, great. 59-year-old, 55-year-old, fraud investigator, I don't know who he works for. By the way, I always tell you guys, when I look at these models, I don't plan them ahead of time. I've not seen this model before. I've glanced at it just to make sure that it was reasonable for our case study, but I don't know anything about the client. I don't plan anything out ahead of time. Okay? First step, problem identification. Right? So there's some life insurance on this person. Doesn't look like they have a whole lot of other things up here. No long-term care. Some decent money in savings, which means they're probably saving money every month. Looks like some 401k stuff. and just a couple bucks outside investments. Okay, so obviously there's a lot of information that I don't know. It looks like their house is paid off. By the way, if somebody's house is paid off, number one, congratulations. Number two, you had better be putting into some account on a regular and systematic basis the same amount you were paying in mortgage, because it does you no good to pay your mortgage off and not save the money. Right? If you're not going to save the money, you might as well not pay the house off. You've got to have that money flowing. You've got to pay yourself back. Otherwise, it's pointless. Right? So in this case, what I see here is I see massive problems. Massive problems. This couple could not be positioned any worse. There could not be a worse plan in place coming into my office. I can tell you that right now. Number one, I can tell there's no plan. Right? Number two, they're going to lose all their insurance. Right? Every single dollar of insurance is going to be gone. Number three, everything is taxable. I don't care if it's $1 in savings or an IRA. Everything is taxable. And clearly down here, there's really no rhyme or reason or exit strategy for whatever it is going on down here. A paid-off house, honestly, a paid-off house in your 50s, you think that's a good idea? I'd love to see your taxes. I don't have the tax thing on this guy. But you want to tell somebody how wrong they've been? This guy has just been no planning at all. You can tell he's got no planning because he's still got money in silly places, right? So I don't know how much money he's saving, but he should be able to pump some money in to get some more protection on a permanent basis, long-term care, permanent life insurance, make sure he's got his wills in place. Okay? He's got kids. I know he loves his kids. If he didn't, he wouldn't put them on here probably. His kids are probably aged now where they're starting to get married, having kids hopefully. Life insurance, real easy to do on them hopefully because they're probably still in good shape. Okay, we can start off with some cash invested in the insurance, get some flow going in here. They're probably contributing to these things. So I'll just do an example. Let's say they're putting $21,000 a year into here. Let's say they're getting matched $8,000. Sorry, what's 5% of 150? Sorry, 7,500. This is what we see all the time. Right? This is what we see all the time. So my question is, Mr. Client, did you really intend to have no insurance at all? Is that your plan? No long-term care? Have you thought about long-term care? Do you know that 2 out of 3 people who are your age are going to need long-term care in retirement? Do you know how much long-term care costs? Well, this retirement account stuff is going to be wiped out in a matter of a couple of years. I don't care if it goes to $800,000. It'll get wiped out in a matter of a couple of years without long-term care. Why? Because, of course, we use the calculator. Long-term care in your area, Mr. Client, costs, I don't know, $86,000 a year. No, sorry, $96,000 a year, $8,000 a month. But guess what? You're 50. You're 60. So let's put you in your late 80s. 1 year worth of care. We have to know, right? It's $400,000. 1 year for one of you. What's your plan for that? You think you're going to retire comfortably and only one of you gets sick? Only one of you gets Alzheimer's? Only one of you gets Parkinson's? Only one of you has some kind of impairment? Only one of you needs care? You'll wipe out everything. Right? Because to take out $400,000 net, you got to withdraw $650 for 1 year. I don't care how much money anybody has. Even if they can self-insure, they're silly to. It's crazy to self-insure. Okay? So it doesn't matter how much money they have here. Let's redirect to get you some protection to protect your estate for your spouse and your kids. Right? What do I redirect? Anything over the match. Why would you put anything beyond what you're getting matched? You're putting in $14,000 more than you have to. Do you really think that's a good idea? You want to see a cool number? Watch this. He's got 363. And I want to go over this in detail so you guys see this is a 401k blow-up. Real easy. Our calculators do all the work, right? He's got 363. Again, I know that I've got glasses. I know it looks like I can do math. I'm going to let the calculators do the math for me. 21,000 plus 8, so it's 29,000 going in. I already know, I don't know, what does he say, 10 years from now, 7 years from now? It's going to grow to 800. Oh my gosh, I got the same answer as my model. How crazy. But if he says, okay, I'm only going to put in when I get matched, I'll put in my 7. To get my 7, I'll put in $14,000 less money. So he's going to put in $15,000. He'll put in $7,500 to get his $7,500, and instead of having $800, he'll have $679. But guess what? He has $14,000 more for 7 years. Right? That's $100,000. So he has $100,000 more somewhere else. How much more money would it have earned him in his retirement account? $20,000 over 7 years, and it's taxable, and you have to take a risk? There's no indexed annuities in retirement accounts, guys. There's no guarantee this guy's going to get 6. I'm going to show him he's going to get 6. But what if he doesn't? He would have been far better off somewhere else. And I'm not going to show you the illustration for your sakes, guys. You should look it up and figure it out. But at a 50-something-year-old for $14,000 a year, he could get a nice, juicy, permanent whole life with a long-term care rider, maybe even a disability insurance policy. Big, fat, juicy one. And that's just getting started. Okay? So we changed the model to $7,500. Oh my gosh, look, I got the same number, $679, right? Still going to have plenty of money in there. The extra money doesn't do anything for you. Let's diversify it so that you don't have to pay tax on all your money. How does that sound? Talk about an easy concept to sell. Why don't we redirect some of your money now and put it somewhere where it's tax sheltered so you won't have to pay taxes on every dollar of income you have in retirement? How does that sound? Well, if we can put it somewhere also where it can make sure this insurance doesn't go away and you don't lose all of your insurance in retirement, and maybe we can get some long-term care in here paid up by the time you're 70 right now while you're healthy and young enough, do you think that might make some sense? I mean, come on. Of course it does. I don't know what this mess of stuff is down here. I have to see statements to understand what's going on here. Right, but obviously we're going to move all of his money. We're going to start tax shelter. We're going to buy insurance. We're going to change this guy's life. We're going to change his life. We're going to change the life of his kids, hopefully his grandkids as well.
Jonathan?
Yes?
We've got a question in the chat box.
I know how to pull up the chat box now, Dennis.
There we
Let's
go.
Pull it up. It says, how do you answer the question when people say, I'm losing a huge tax break by not putting money to 401k? So that's a fair question. The question is, what kind of tax break are we losing? All we're doing is we're deferring taxes. So hopefully in this story we have the guy's tax return, right? And I don't know if his spouse is making money here or what's going on, but when I pull up the tax return and I show him tax bracket, and more than likely, let's say this guy's making $1.50 after deductions, he's probably making $1.20, right? You're in a 25% tax bracket, sir. What is the likelihood? I'll make this bigger so you guys can see it. Your clients all need to know their tax brackets. This is what we sell off of. We sell off the tax brackets, right? They got to know it. What's the likelihood that you're going to fail miserably in life, have no money in retirement, and make less than $75,000 and be in a 15% tax bracket? And they look at it and say, that's not going to happen. What's the likelihood that you'll hopefully be successful and either one of two things happens? You stay in the same tax bracket because you're making reasonable money, or the government decides to raise taxes on us sometime between now and retirement. Is that possible? And if that happens, don't you think we might want to pay a little bit less money into these deferred accounts, pay the small tax on it now, and let it grow tax-free for the rest of our lives? So, I'm going through this quickly, guys. I'm not going through it in order, but that's a fantastic question. People are going to ask you, what about the taxes? You know what I say to them? Reduce your 401k to 5% and bring me your pay stub. Because when they bring me the pay stub, what it's going to show me is it's going to show me how much income their pay went up to after they reduced their contribution. Whatever difference in pay they get, taxes have already been taken into account. Whatever that amount is, I'm going to shove that money into insurance. I'm going to tell them I'm going to put it into a tax shelter. Okay? But that's the easiest way to deal with it. I had a client, again, I had 2 meetings before this morning. I had a client that said, well, I've got this money in a retirement account, and I got $350,000, right? Oh, it's pretty close to this one, $350,000. And I'm already retired. These guys have been retired for like 7 years. He's like, my wife's about to take social in like 2 years from now. My income's only going to go up. And I say, okay, take our $17,500 out of this sucker and pay your daggone tax. So this $17,500 is going to net to $12,000. How much money do we put into the insurance every year? $12,000. And they're still going to get to keep their $350 forever. Simple as that. You always want to account for the taxes. Okay, thank you for the question. Hopefully that helps. In a perfect world, if I'm doing their planning, I'm going to offset the tax, right? How do I offset the taxes? 17 different ways, guys. I'm not going to get into all of them today. And this is the reason why, some people say, well, do I really need to do joint work with Jonathan? No, you don't need to do joint work with me. Some of you guys are better than I do. You don't need any of my stuff. But if I'm showing you something that might help you or might help you look at stuff a different way, you got to see the client interaction. You got to see the client interaction. How do they talk about the taxes? What story do you want to tell? How do you get them to do the health insurance or the health screening for the life insurance? How do you get them to change their strategy of having their house paid off? Here's one thing I can tell you. If I wanted to, I could very easily plop the $85,000 into a CRUT. And I'm going to spend a lot of time on this particular case, and the reason why, this case is very clear. Right? It's a good case. It's a good case. I mean, probably this guy's 59 and a half. I'm going to roll over his retirement accounts. I'm going to make $70,000, $80,000 on this client. I'm going to make $70,000 on this client, maybe more, because I'm going to do life insurance. I'm going to do a CRUT. I'm going to throw this into an account. I'm going to roll this stuff over. I don't care about how much money I'm going to make, though. It doesn't matter to me, right? I want to make sure this guy knows that we have a strategy in place. I had another client that I had talked to. They're like, I want to know what the game plan is. What's your overall strategy? Where are we headed? Because nobody's ever taught these guys this. Nobody's ever showed them the way. So I can plop, why is it an unbelievable time to throw some brokerage money into a CRUT? My God. There couldn't be a better time in the history of mankind to throw brokerage money into a CRUT. So you get this $100,000, throw it into a CRUT. Hopefully there's a ton of gain in here. The CRUT is going to allow him to not have to pay that capital gain even though everything's sold. You're going to throw it into an annuity. You're going to pay him income. You're going to go right to the CRUT calculator that I use, or you're going to send the information to me and I'll get you a care proposal, right? $100,000, 5% payout, 59 years old. So on top of the income he's going to get and the avoidance of capital gain he's going to get, how would you like to have a tax deduction for the $36,800? Is that enough tax deduction? Whoever asked the question about the 401k, is this enough tax deduction to reduce the income on his 401k for the next 5 years that he's not going to contribute to? Yeah. In fact, that might be the exact right number that we need to offset all of the excess contribution tax. $7,500 a year for 5 years. That's pretty doggone close. How awesome is that? This type of case is just meant to be. Okay? So honestly, you're seeing the charitable trust calculations. You're seeing a lot of stuff going on. We're going to, again, this guy doesn't even care about the indexes. He doesn't care about the investments. Most of our clients, when you show them the investments, they're chomping at the bit. They're ready to go. Sign me up. Very little pushback. This guy's just excited that you're going to show him how to not have to pay taxes on everything, how to diversify his accounts, how to create a deduction, and most importantly, how to get a significant amount of protection. Honestly, this guy, his wife probably doesn't make any money. She's got very little Social Security, so she's going to get half of whatever he gets, which is totally fine. But bam, we just hit like 6, 7 different areas in a row, changed this guy's life. Any questions about this case? It would be nice if this guy had a mortgage or if he had some other stuff going on, but he doesn't. So I wouldn't take money out. If he says to me, hey, I need to buy a deck or do some home renovations or I want to do some other stuff, I would take an equity line of credit out before anything else. But, we could talk more about that. Okay? So that is a good case. Let's look at case number 2. I'm obviously not going to get to 4 cases today, but the in-depth discussion on these cases is really important. Okay? And by the way, this fraud investigator, I've had Secret Service guys in my office. I've had FBI in my office. I've had people that were judges in my office. I've had lawyers in my office. Don't worry about what their title is or what they do for a living. Assume they know nothing. They will appreciate you educating them. Okay? Assume they don't know anything, because they probably don't, especially if they've gotten advice from somebody else. All right? Let's look at a second case, and no, not this one. We did this one last time. I got a bunch of models here. Okay. there's a lot of stuff going on in this case, guys. This is actually one of my personal clients. Tons of money in cash. I mean, what you're going to see in this case is you're going to see the tax return. Somebody's got $800,000 in CDs and checking. You're going to see that on the tax return. You're going to see all these bonds and all this other stuff. You're going to see all this stuff on the tax return. Okay? So obviously we got to get him out of all this stuff, but here's what we want to do. I'm just going to talk about one other strategy. Obviously this guy doesn't have insurance. This is the kind of guy who might say, oh, I'm going to self-insure. BS. Baloney. He's going to have good income. This guy's going to make more taxes and have much more income in retirement than he has now. He's going to get clobbered. He needs to be tax sheltered as much as he possibly can. How do we tax shelter? We buy a ton of insurance and we convert as much of the stuff to Roth as we can. How do we convert to Roth? Plop $400,000 into a CRUT this year and plop another $400,000 into a CRUT 5 years from now. $800,000 into a CRUT. Right? We're going to offset that by buying life insurance on this guy. You want to see what a 65-year-old CRUT looks like? This is where it gets really interesting. And again, this is one of those things that the wives love. When I show this strategy to the wife, they love it. Let's put $400,000 into a CRUT at 65 years old. 5% income, 65. What this number I'm looking for is going to show me. Obviously, I can figure out the income, but I want to know this number because this number shows me how much I can convert to Roth. All right, so by putting $400,000 into a CRUT, he can convert $179,000 of his IRA to Roth. Now, this is what I show the wife. And of course, I'm kidding when I say just show the wife. I show them both, but the wife loves this. If I can convert $179,000 to a Roth with no tax today, guess what Roth does not have that IRAs do have? RMDs. So you're in your 60s now. Let's do this until you're 90. And let's let this Roth grow with no RMDs so that your kids and grandkids get to inherit $1 million tax-free. Because of this strategy we're doing today, rather than your kids getting $179,000 taxable, because we know that's all they're going to get, they got to take out their RMDs, right? Rather than them getting $179,000 taxable, are you okay with leaving them $1 million tax-free? Hopefully you guys are getting chills because I get goosebumps when I talk about this stuff. The clients freak out. They're like, oh my God, that is a real difference. I had no idea I could do this. That's what I want. Sign me up. So this particular strategy for this particular client, that's just the beginning. We haven't talked about the life insurance, the long-term care, all the other kind of stuff. Okay? So there's so much stuff going on in this case. This case, I mean, I can see it. If you look at the tax return, I'll show you a second strategy. We'll call this a flat tax strategy. So $838,000 in CDs and cash. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard to get the money out of this person's hand. It's hard. If they've got this amount of money in cash, they've saved it for a long time. They love getting bank account statements, watching their money grow, and having $800,000 in cash. I'm not going to lie to you. They love that. Maybe you show them a single premium life policy, so they get $1.6 million rather than $800. But normally what I'd like to do is I like to take that $800,000 and flat tax that thing. So I put that $800,000 here. Let's just do $700. Let's let them hold on to $150, right? Let's do $700,000 here. Let's take out $35,000 a year, right? So you keep their $700,000 intact. Let's just do it for 20 years. Right? They get to keep their $800,000. Their $600 goes back to $800. You see that strategy? We're going to take your $700 and we're going to make it grow back up to $800, but we're going to take out $35,000 a year. Guess where that $35,000 a year is going? You guys want to take a wild guess how much insurance you can get for $35,000 a year of premium? A nice, big, fat, juicy policy with tons of cash, tons of long-term care benefit, tons of everything you want. So this particular case, I mean, you're going to make 6 figures of commission, guys, but that's beside the point. You know, that really is beside the point. This case has so much going on. We're just getting started. Any other questions? Does anybody see stuff on here that might be interesting? I mean, if these are truly bonds, it's going to come out on line 8A or 9A of their 1040. I'm going to ask them, do you really, really want to pay taxes on this money twice? right? Maybe they're going to buy a second house. I hope this client wants to buy a second house because I want them to have a mortgage. I need those deductions. We got to start thinking about how we're going to reduce the tax on all this money. All right, gonna get them a ton of insurance. And again, we only need one of them. We don't need both of them being insurable, guys. Really important. Hopefully, you're not going to sell second to dies. Screw your clients at everything. But if only one of them is healthy, this plan will sing like a hummingbird. All right. You only need one of them. If neither one of them is healthy, you can do a simplified issue. National Western, right? At least something. There's always going to be Plan B and Plan C, but there's so much going on here, guys. This is really great. So we obviously need statements to blow stuff up. We need tax returns. We're going to blow up the fee. We're going to talk about indexes. They're paying $2,000 a month for major medical insurance. Not for much longer. Not for much longer. She'll go on Medicare, so they'll save that. Yeah, they have high expenses. They need money. They spend everything they got right now. So let's start moving it so they can save money on taxes. That was a lot to talk about. There's a lot more. I got a couple other cases. I'll save the other cases for next time. I really want you to think about it. I move seamlessly. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I use these calculators all day, every day. I can move seamlessly throughout them. I can go to inflation. I can go to random return. I can do loans. I can go to the tax tables. You don't even realize as I'm doing this, you guys know this stuff. You're not saying, oh, wow, Jonathan can really figure this stuff out. I swear to God, the client's thinking that. The client's thinking, I'm really getting all the answers I ever needed here. I know what kind of loan I need to do. I know what my tax brackets are. I know how to figure out this whole stock market situation. I know how to get more protection. I know how to figure out withdrawals. You guys are going to look like you have all the answers, and that's exactly what this is all designed to do. Bring you credibility. Yes?
We have a question.
Perfect. Is it in the box?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll check it out. Can you briefly hit on simplified issue? Yes, National Western Life, simplified issue. There's 14 knockout questions. If your client can answer no to those questions, you can make a phone call with no health exam and get them approved over the phone for a 10-pay guaranteed paid-up life insurance policy. National Western, talk to your guys at Creative. I sell a ton of it. It's a great deal. Absolutely. So hopefully you guys are getting a lot out of these calls. I know some of you guys aren't on all the calls, but talk to Bobby, talk to me, pick up some cases for joint work. I'm really excited about all the things that are going on with Creative right now. I'm excited about the market. I've told you this before. Right now, this is the best time to be in the market. Before this fall, we got to get our clients out of the market. October timeframe is always the worst time of the year for the stock market. If something's going to happen, it's probably going to happen in the next couple months. Tell the stories. And the great thing about it is you sell Schiller, you sell J.P. Morgan, you sell Merrill Lynch, you sell whatever index you're selling, the Goldman Sachs, your clients make money no matter what. They're never going to have to kick you under the table for them not making money. They're going to make money no matter what. Do people really need anything else besides that? You're going to be able to tax shelter their money. You're going to be able to do all kinds of other stuff for them. All right? Any other questions before I let you go and jump into the rest of my day? All right,
want me to go ahead and unmute for a second?
You can unmute for a quick second. I'll give them about 10 seconds if they like.
The conference has been unmuted.
If you guys want to jump in and ask a question, you don't have to tell me who you are, even though I know all of your voices. I'm more than happy to chat with you. I got 2 more cases. I didn't get to these cases today. I promise I'll get to them next time. I only do these once a month, guys, so try to make them. If you can't make them, get the Creative guys to send you the archived recordings. It's better live with me, of course, but hey, you know what? If you're bored and you're working on paperwork, listen to a recording. Have your staff listen to the recordings. I think it'll help. Any questions?
Jonathan, Mark Houston in Omaha. I'm going to New
Hey,
York
Mark Houston.
Hello,
Mark.
I'm going to the Nexus event in New York on Monday. And,
yes.
So I'm looking forward to that, and we're pulling up more cases for you, and we have traction on the ones we're working on. So
awesome. And hey, if you learn more about the Zebra Edge thing that's new, or the Ibbotson one, let me know, because I'm not following those at all, by the way.
Okay.
If they look awesome, let me know.
Okay.
Any questions? Any other questions? All right. I love to see you guys. I love to hear from you guys. You guys know I'm a busy guy, but everybody who's got my cell phone number, text me, call me. I'm more than happy to chat with you. Have a great day. Dennis, It always runs more smoothly when you're around. I appreciate it. We did our own last time. Not our best show, but it went okay. Thank you very much, Dennis.
There you go. Anytime. Everybody, have a fantastic rest of the week, and that ends our call. I'll push the recording out here within about a half hour or so. Just needed a little edit. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.